You always look so startled by the clap. You look like there is a big bug around you that's coming towards your face. It's literally your own clap.
Is that what it is? No, it's because sometimes our claps are exactly at the same moment and sometimes they're completely off and it doesn't seem to matter. So I'm just waiting for you to yell at me that the clap was off.
Number one, I don't yell. It doesn't have to be at the same time. It's for the editor to line up the sound. Okay. Welcome to our podcast where I teach Daisy how to be a podcaster. Welcome to Shut the Fuck Up, Nick Lachey. Daisy, I can't take on the responsibility of teaching you about life, love, and relationships and about podcasting.
Okay.
I can't do it.
Okay, look, in my defense, I Googled it the other night and I learned some stuff.
You Googled how to podcast? So you read the book So You Want to Be a Podcaster?
I read Podcasting for Dummies. And last night I Googled how to be a podcaster and then I learned.
The clap gives you this long line so that when you're editing, you can line it up. It doesn't matter if we clap together. We could clap at two separate times as long as that is where Amanda can start editing, or me or Amber or anybody who knows how to edit.
What? Oh, were you still talking?
I am so excited. You guys, I just finished watching this episode 45 seconds ago, and I ran down to my studio to record with Daisy.
Yeah, Ellen made me wait because she was parenting.
Yeah.
Like, she was like, I have to be late because I'm making dinner. I was like, come on.
Yeah. Some of us don't have partners and live our lives as single moms. And so you heard it here. Daisy Egan hates single moms and believes all children should live in a two-parent household.
Yeah, a mother and a father.
Yeah. Only that. That's the only structure that works.
Only one.
Absolutely. I can't wait to tell Amber Hunt her husband is around. Mine hit the dust, which is probably why I should be on this show. Welcome to Shut the Fuck Up, Nick Lachey, the podcast where Daisy Egan and I are recapping episode by episode the Netflix hit TV show Love is Blind, where people come and try and find out if love is blind. I would prefer Love Be Deaf because these motherfuckers need to shut the fuck up, all of them.
Wow. Almost every single one of them really needs to shut the fuck up.
I'm going to actually rename this show. It's called Misogyny is Fun. How did they find so many men who just hate women? That is what I learned today. I was like, oh, you all legit hate women, including the dads. Everybody hates women who has a peenie, hates women. Not in general. I just mean on this show. Am I right or am I right?
And also some of the women also hate women. It's remarkable.
It is remarkable.
I think they screened them for it. I think it's like the first question on the questionnaire. They're like, do you hate women? And if you check yes, you made it.
Right. It's like that thing where it's like, yes, your journey continues. No, thank you so much. There's coffee and bars on your way out.
Yeah, exactly.
This is bananas. Do you want to jump in? Do you have anything to say? Are you medicated? Have you taken shrooms? What's happening?
I am medicated and I took a nap. So obviously we cut back to Aaliyah.
Okay,
and
Daisy.
What did I do wrong now?
Okay, I mean so many things, but I just want to start at the top where it says... The theme song comes on and it says intriguing music.
I saw that too.
I was like, number one, I'll be the judge of that.
Yeah.
And number two, is it an intriguing music? They were like, what should we put on here for the deaf people?
They went to the license-free music site and they put in intriguing music and they just picked the first one that came up.
Guys, it's going to be downhill from here, okay? Thank you for being a member of Grab Bag Collab. This is not going to get any better here on out. So if you choose to carry on, that's on you today.
That is on you. Just like these people. Like, you made this decision. So, Aaliyah and Uche, after the intriguing music play, we meet them back at this restaurant where Aaliyah has her shoulders up by her ears.
Right?
And she says, I want to have a future with you. I want to be with you.
So, you know how those people on that submersible wanted to go to a shipwreck? Like they wanted to go to the Titanic? I just wonder where there's a train wreck in Houston. And then I realized it was right there in that restaurant with Aaliyah and Uche, because now I'm kind of mad at Aaliyah.
Same. I mean, I hate him with a burning passion. But in that moment, I wanted to be like, why? Like, can you tell me why you want to marry me?
Yeah, Because she keeps saying, like, I found you, I love you, I still want to marry you. I wrote, what the fuck is wrong with this woman?
Yeah.
And he was like, you know, when I found out you left, I was broken. I was like, yeah, you short-circuited like a motherfucking toy because for the first time in your life, you weren't able to be in control of the situation. Someone was calling you on your bullshit, and you couldn't fucking handle not being in the driver's seat because you're young, handsome, successful, you have money, and this is new territory. You're like fucking Magellan. Like you are exploring places that Native Americans have probably already been, and you're claiming it for your own.
Yeah, it was wild, and I wrote that Aaliyah is unstable. Like, I love her, I feel so bad for her, but she is not stable. And the last place she needs to be right now is in a relationship, especially one on television.
Yeah, and so then she goes through the argument with Lydia. The whole reason she says she left was because of these salty feelings with Lydia. She says, I got a lot more information from her than I did from you. And, you know, he continues to reassure her that he didn't have feelings for Lydia. More on that later. And she's like, but true or false, my man, you stopped dating only a handful of months ago. We all came and fell in love within a matter of 6 hours. Yes or no?
Right. And he asks her, why didn't you come to me about this? And she's like, you weren't receptive when I was vulnerable. And he spins it around and completely changes the story again. And now he's saying that he was protecting Lydia's feelings and he didn't want Aaliyah to think that he was somebody who talks bad about women. Listen, if there was anybody who talks shit about women, it's that guy. Like, come on.
Yeah, absolutely. Also, she makes the point, she's like, you weren't on the receiving end of all of this irrationally unnecessary information that Lydia was throwing my way, which we still don't know what implored her to act like that, whether or not she was actually being manipulative or whether or not she was just throwing it out there. We saw Aaliyah's discomfort live and in person in front of our eyes. Lydia was being out of pocket, and Aaliyah, there's no playbook for this. But the thing that really got me, if we go back in this show, you will see Uche read from the narcissist handbook. You know, you're overreacting. That's when a narcissist is emotionally manipulating you by devaluing your emotions and saying your feelings are wrong, or you did this to yourself, or this is your fault, not mine, which is like anytime a narc gets confronted or you stand up for yourself or you took that the wrong way or that's not what I mean, and they say that to get sympathy. He's constantly trying to get sympathy and say like, oh, I'm the good guy. His playbook is so fucking 101, and everything he said, I'm just like, red fucking flag. This man needs to be studied.
He does, and I don't know if you've seen any of his Instagram, but he's got a lot of women defending him there. Yeah, and he also says the reason that he didn't... Yeah, sorry.
No. Reminder that women can have internalized misogyny too.
Yeah,
just a reminder.
As with most of the women on this show. But he tells Aaliyah that he didn't want to dig up the past, you know, in regards to like whatever was going on with Lydia. And I'm like, isn't that sort of what the pods are for? Like, that's the whole point. And if you're not willing to talk about the past, then what are you doing, honestly?
So then he goes into the story about what happened with Lydia. And his thesis is that she was invading his privacy. That they went out, she kept calling and texting and apologizing for this invasion of privacy, which we'll find out later. And she seemed remorseful, so he gave her another shot. They dated again. This is fucking wild. Shortly after he, quote, took her back, he found out that she was looking at his friend's Instagram stories. Now, on Instagram, you can see when someone is looking at your stories. I haven't used that feature in approximately 3 years. I'm going to look and see who's looking at my shit. I put my shit out there to be looked at. I would hope you are all looking at it. That is my hope, or else I wouldn't put it on Instagram. But I will say that mistake of looking at someone's Instagram stories is on Lydia, because Lydia needs to grow the fuck up and get a burner Instagram account to stalk her love interest's followers like the goddamn rest of us. Okay? Grow up. Get a fucking Finsta.
Is that what people are doing?
What are you new to the planet? Don't look at other people's shit on your page.
Yeah, I agree. And also, and we're gonna get into that later as well, but like, I didn't think that what she was doing was that fucking weird.
We all do that. I have met people and been like, oh my God, nice to meet you. How was the Bahamas? And they're like, wait. And I'm like, ugh. Like, the internet is free by cost and also for everyone. But I have this question for you. Do you mean to tell me someone, so whoever did this is equally as fucking crazy, looked through their Instagram stories. They were looking through who watched their stories. Then they cross-referenced that person with all of their followers. And by using Newton's law of relativity, whose law is that? I don't fucking know. Found out that this was someone that Uche had a situationship with. You all are crazy and you need to get 3 podcasts because I couldn't dream of having this. What are you guys, the fucking CIA?
Yeah.
How did you all find this out? I don't know if I fucking believe Uche. I wouldn't know if someone looked at my shit. You could back up a truckload of money and I'd be like, okay, the internet is fucking free.
I don't think I believe him either. And furthermore, he really still had pictures of Lydia up for people to know that they had dated. It doesn't make sense. And in terms of, he says she drove by my house and took a picture of me and sent it to me with the caption, I see you. And I'm like, that's something I would do just as a joke.
Totally. I would do that as a joke. I would absolutely send a funny message that was like, I see you. I don't know if I buy any of this. And he said she was keeping tabs on her. I was like, I don't know if she was. You have not proven that to me, counselor.
Yeah, he says that she was stalking all of the people that he follows on Instagram. I was like, you're okay. Let's calm down.
Yeah, and he said when he got that text that said, I see you, he said, I panicked. You panicked?
Come on.
I panic walking late at night to my car. You were in your house with your Tesla parked in the front and a little Puerto Rican woman made you panic. I have seen your arms. They're the size of both of my fucking thighs. That little woman made you panic? Okay, you're far too smart to be using that kind of hyperbole, sir. I am. Listen, I told you all, I'm amped.
He uses a ton of hyperbole. And then Aaliyah says something that I wish I could have put back in her mouth. And I wish I could have gone rewind and said, let's just not say that. And she admitted, she was like, I spun out in my head. I was trying to figure out what you were doing. And then I thought, what if they both came on this show intentionally to date? And once again, he's incapable of being like, yeah, okay, that's an irrational thought. But she was upset. And she was saying, I know I was having an irrational thought. Can't he just say, wow, that must have been hard? But instead, he's like, why would we do that? That's so stupid.
Yeah. Or he could have been like, do you feel silly for that? He could have turned it into a joke, softened the mood. But he also says he was on again, off again with Lydia. And that he kept talking to her because he felt, no, you wanted to fuck, and that's fine.
Yeah.
But you kept going back. Someone can't be obsessed with you and stalk you if you keep giving in and giving them something to obsess about. If you keep breadcrumbing her and fucking her on the side, you are making her like that.
Yeah. He says, she was in a rough spot and she needed me. And I'm like, and I wrote the same thing down. I was like, no, dude, you wanted to fuck.
Yeah.
Fuck off.
Yeah. So then Aaliyah tells Uche what the straw that broke the camel's back was. And she was like, well, I said something I didn't really mean. And she's laughing. She's trying to play it off. I think she does really regret saying this. But basically she said, if Uche doesn't propose, you can have him back. And she's like, I didn't mean it. I shouldn't have said that. And Uche, the wet fucking blanket, he's like, yeah, but you did mean it.
You did mean it.
She probably did mean that in that moment. She was hurt and confused. And there's this fucking woman gaslighting her. Yeah, she probably did. Okay, great. And she's like, what do we do now?
And she says, when I left, I still thought we would continue a relationship. And that's very confusing because she didn't leave a note. If that's what her intentions were, she should have left him a note that said, I have to go. I feel unsafe. I need some whatever. Can we talk? Can you call me when you're back? And then he says that she called him, left a message, blocked him, unblocked him, deleted the message, followed him on Instagram, unfollowed him. That behavior's not real cute, but...
I mean, have you ever been so brokenhearted that you just act kind of unhinged?
Yes.
I remember when I found out an ex cheated on me, Joey had to physically hold my hands and stop me from hacking into my ex's account and saying I cheated on Ellen Marsh with. And he's like, I promise you think this is going to make you feel good, but it's not.
Good for Joey.
But in my mind, in that moment, all I wanted to do was embarrass him. All I wanted to do was publicly shame him. That would have made me look crazy. And I don't like using the word crazy, but in my mind, it was so logical. I was like, I need to shame him. I have his Facebook password. 1 + 1 is 4.
Yeah, I know. And men behave this way and then turn around and say, like, she was crazy. And it's like, well, you made me crazy.
Yes, baby. They take pride in that. Let me ask you a question. He says, I was ready to spend the rest of my life with you, blah, de, blah. I just feel like this man is so calculated. He has no emotion. When you think back to that first playback of Lydia and Uche meeting, when you think back to it now, I didn't think this in the moment. Does it feel staged? Like, this isn't a person you met on Hinge and you went to Pizzeria Uno with and you, like, fucked in the back of your pickup truck twice. Like,
yeah, and her voice is pretty distinct. I mean, that's what I was thinking when it was revealed. I was like, how did he not recognize her voice, like, immediately?
Well, we didn't know the extent of their relationship. Maybe they went on one date, but we've learned that it definitely was not one date. They had some kind of situationship. Maybe they weren't in love, but they definitely had a journey together of sorts. And he didn't recognize her voice?
That's a really, really good point.
Like, she doesn't sound like me, or, I mean, she's like got a very distinct accent. I don't know.
Yeah, and even after she starts, like, saying his name, like, it still takes him a while. I think that's a great point, but, like, to what end? Like, what would that be for?
So that he didn't seem eager to hear from her, be like, wait, is this Lydia? Because then that puts him in sort of, like, not in control. If I recognize her voice and I know it's her, then he can be like, you know, it's like that trope in a movie where, like, the nerdy girl is like, hi, Brett! And he's like, I don't fucking know that girl. Like, he's like, it's like, no, wasn't she your neighbor for 12 years? Hi! Like, he's like, I don't fucking know who she is. Yeah, I don't know that fucking girl. She wears glasses. I don't know her.
Yeah, but wait till the end of the movie when she takes the glasses off. Yeah. She's going to be real pretty.
And she takes her ponytail out?
And her hair is perfect. Her hair's been in a ponytail all fucking day. She takes it out. There's not a dent. Nope. It has nice beachy waves. Yeah, it is fuck you.
Get the fuck out of here with that perfect fucking ponytail.
He also says to Aaliyah, in a relationship, you have to be there. My parents never abandoned each other. And I'm like, well, yeah, but they had already built a foundation of trust, I'm assuming, before shit got bad. Like, for you guys, shit got bad almost immediately. So your argument means nothing.
Yeah. And they end their scene with him saying, I'm done, which is exactly where he wants to be, back in the driver's seat, calling all the shots, because Aaliyah was like, are we going to do this? And Aaliyah's like, okay. And I guess that's the end of Aaliyah and Uche for now.
I guess so. He said the smartest thing that he's ever said in the show so far. He said, you didn't have confidence in me or our relationship. And I'm like, that is accurate. That sounds correct and accurate. And guess whose fault that is?
Yeah, exactly. Oh, God. I will be happy to never see that man again. And I'm not too psyched on Aaliyah today either. So, sorry,
I know.
girl.
She needs to, like, go away to, like, a silent retreat for a little bit and, like, reconnect with herself.
Yeah. Go on, baby. Hakuna your tatas. Come on.
Yeah. So now we're in Izzy and Stacy's apparently nice car. I don't know cars.
It's beautiful. It's a Mercedes. It's gorgeous. I don't know cars either, but it's a pretty car.
Okay.
And they pull up to Izzy's, and she's worried if Izzy's apartment is going to be dirty, to which I say, he's a boy, okay? Yes, there is going to be pubes everywhere.
Yeah. Why is that?
They don't have control of where their pubes go, apparently, because they're everywhere, and they're so thick and identifiable.
Yeah.
I don't have pubes, so I always knew they were always like my partners. So I was like, I mean.
Right. Yours never grew in because you're like basically a prepubescent girl.
I ordered the Barbie body. When Jesus brought me down from heaven, he's like, do you want this version? I was like, yep.
So you just have a mound down there.
Yep. Just a mound.
Yeah, they go into his hideous grayish corporate apartment. She's like, ooh, this is nice. And I'm like, really? And he has this like really ugly craft on the wall. And she's like, did you do this? And he's like, yep, it's a Hobby Lobby house. Wah, wah.
We were in Texas. Listen, there's always got to be decorations that say, I hate human rights.
Yeah, exactly. Live, craft, and take away people's rights.
Yeah, I mean, it just goes with the theme, Daisy, of hating women. Like, I mean, it's a theme. It does. You know, it's like, what are you going to do? Go to a party and make it not be a luau? No, you're not. You're going to go with a theme.
Right. That's fair. That's really fair. Stacy starts going through his stuff. She's like, why don't you have a nightstand? And at first I was like, oh, this is like cool and evolved of her to be like, hey, you're a bachelor. Don't you need a nightstand for like the women you bring home to fuck to like put their shit down? And he's like, oh, you know, it's funny. I have this. And he opens a drawer and he's got a little like Target plastic basket in there of like, he's like, this is the lost and found. Rings, earrings, bobby pins, whatever. And Stacy gets so upset about this basket of random shit. Like irrationally upset about this thing.
Yeah. She's like, what is that? Whose are they? He's like, I don't know.
I don't know.
And she's like, well, then why don't you throw it away? I have so much to say about this day. First of all, my overall statement for Stacy and Izzy is going to be, why do you fucking care? Okay?
Yeah.
Just so you know, why do you fucking care? Let me ask you a question. Let me play devil's advocate for 1 second, even though I don't agree with it, but this did pop into my mind. So he kept calling it a lost and found, and I'm trying to see how she got so irrationally angry. Do you think that was like his trophy box? Like he wanted Stacy to see it, which is not true because she brought up the nightstand. Was it a way to like for him to flex and be like, yeah, whenever I fuck someone and they leave their bobby pins, I put it in here. This is my trophy box. What do you think of that as an idea?
The only time I've ever heard of a trophy box is from like a serial rapist / killer. So I don't know if that's a thing that people do. I suppose it's possible. It doesn't really seem like something he would do. Maybe I'm giving him too much credit. I wrote down, honestly ask you, like, why is she so upset about this?
I would not be upset. The first thing that popped into my mind is he was like, what if you fuck a girl again? And she's like, do you have my gold hoop? Like, I think I left it the last time, you know, we did doggy here.
Yeah.
And he's like, actually, yes, I do. I have your gold hoop. And she's like, thank you. I got those from my bat mitzvah.
I can understand not being comfortable throwing away a ring. Like, I have shit that I haven't thrown away because I'm like, I don't know what to do with this.
Absolutely.
I don't want it necessarily, but like, yeah. And then he's laying on the bed giving a confessional and his shoes
are on. His shoes are on the bed.
No, his shoes are on the bed.
On the bed.
His shoes are off his feet and on his bed. What is that?
I have no idea, but I also love how they were like, hey, Izzy, can we get you for a confessional? He's like, yeah, how about I lay on my bed?
Yeah.
Is that a good? It was so Ricky Gervais. Like, it was so...
And his head is right by the shoes. I'm like, bro, move the shoes.
It was
but
so
the conversation goes on and on and on about this lost and found box. And I just wrote, this conversation is so fucking dumb.
Well, it doesn't stop there because then she finds the need to go through his cupboards where he had paper plates and plastic Solo cups. And I just wrote, get off his back. I did not know I was going to be in the business of defending Izzy right now. But mind you, he also had other plates there. There were plates right next to the plates, and he had, like, paper plates and Solo cups. Guess what? I have 3 brothers. You're a bachelor. You're making food.
Yeah.
You're drinking a Gatorade. You don't want to wash it. You throw it away.
Yeah.
Who fucking cares? And she's like,
cares?
what would you serve me if I came over for dinner? I just kept writing, who fucking cares?
Yeah.
I am fully on the fence with Izzy right now. Like, I can't really read him, but I just think, like, you should pick your battles. He's hounding him over this lost and found thing. And it is so confusing to me.
I think it looks like she's trying to find something to be upset about. And I agree. I mean, this is similar to Lydia, like, harping on Milton for, like, the towel and the this and the that. It's like there's things to worry about, and these are not things to worry about.
Yes. Fight real fights.
Yeah.
There will be real fights really coming up really, really soon. And listen, compatibility is a pipe dream. Of course, it's ideal to be compatible, but no one is 100% compatible. Tell me you are, I will call you a liar. Like, you actually have to make up your mind to not argue about dumb shit.
Yeah, my husband, I'm a mess. Like, I'm not dirty, but I'm messy. Like, I've got stuff everywhere, and it drives him crazy. But like, he decided, I love her. She comes with this mess. I can deal with, like, I can put up with that because I love her.
I don't know if it's because we take dinosaurs like out to work because we're so fucking old, but I'm just like, zoom out.
Yeah.
I promise you, his red Solo cups will be the least of your worries when you are your tits are casting a shadow and milk is coming out of them at 3:00 in the morning when you just went for a pee and he is sleeping and your body is in so much pain. I promise you that red Solo cup conversation will sound like fucking Disneyland.
Somebody will say, remember the cups, and you'll be like, what?
Exactly.
What? I'm busy. Yeah.
They get into a little tiff.
That's how it felt to me.
Okay.
I even told you, it was like the thought is the effort that counted.
And I get what you're saying, and I'm
Can you
hearing
please
you.
stop cutting me off?
And then she storms away. Why does she storm away, Tony Award winner Daisy Egan?
Because she fucking can't. I don't know.
Because she's wrong.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Yes, because she's wrong. Because she knows she can't win this stupid fucking argument that she picked. And so she walks away from it.
Yeah.
And then she sits there crying. I mean, I hate to say it, but it is like classic white woman tears. And then he has to be like, okay, and he says, and this is sensitive of him. He's like, I know I'm probably the last person that you want to be near you right now, but like, do you need anything or whatever? And that's the end of that.
She's just going to continue to piss me off. So just get on this gravy train and keep riding it. But let's have a little bit of a palate cleanser and go meet Mama Lydia and Brother William. Brother William is gay.
Played by Gomez Adams.
He is such a card-carrying member of the Alphabet Mafia. I fucking love Brother William. I was like, a gay Puerto Rican man makes great television. I fucking love him. He is such a card-carrying member of the Alphabet Mafia. I fucking love Brother William. I was like, a gay Puerto Rican man makes great television. I fucking love him.
I love him until a little later when he says something that made me want to throttle him. But yes, at first I was like, give me the pencil mustache and the like rolling of the eyes and the like, it was great.
Now I'm trying to guess in my mind what he said, but I'm going to wait just like everyone else.
I'm just being a picky fucking Nazi, feminazi, not Nazi. I'm being a picky feminazi.
You know I know a lot about Hitler. Milton is nervous.
Milton is worried about how to act.
Yeah, because...
Should I act mature? Should I act lovey?
I have a secret.
Yeah.
Milton has won me over.
Yeah, I love Milton. I really do.
He is 24. I don't think him and Lydia will get married, but I actually think he is going to be a great partner, man, dad, worker, whatever he wants. I actually think he is a solid fucking human being. He might be the only solid fucking human being on this show.
That is really, really possible. So during this conversation with Mama Lydia, Lydia says, I'll tell him like I don't like something, and he corrects it. And I'm like, that's not what we've seen. He's like, no, I'm not putting those shorts on. Shut up.
Yeah. Mama Lydia is very endearing, and Brother William is a pickle kisser, as I said. And Mama Lydia is asking all these very, very sweet questions. She is so endearing. I just love her. I'm a little upset. Like, can we get this woman some subtitles?
What was that? I'm like, yes, I understand that he's going to translate, but just put some subtitles there.
She was speaking Spanish. Her English was very, very broken, and she was trying hard. She was engaged. She was crying. She was laughing. I was like, Google Translate is free Netflix. I know you're cutting corners this season because of the weddings and the writer's strike. You couldn't get Mama Lydia some fucking subtitles? Poor thing.
I know. So then they have a discussion about kids. They say that they want 3. Milton says they want to have 2 and adopt 1. This is where I got a little upset at Gomez Adams. He said, when you you do have kids, we're going to go away for 12 months on a vacation until the baby comes. And I'll tell you, there's nothing more in this world that I love more than a gay man insinuating that pregnant women are crazy. I just love it so much.
I actually don't think it's that pregnant women are crazy. I think Lydia's fucking crazy. I actually think she is a card-carrying member, and I think I have given her way too many benefits of my doubts, and I think Brother William is onto something. In fact, I would like to reach out to him. Brother William, I'm sure you were on the Patreon. Come be on Shut the Fuck Up, Nick Lachey, and tell us everything.
Yeah, please, please.
Mama Lydia is crying, and she says, we accept you in our family.
So now we're with Izzy and Stacy. This may be actually where we see her car for the first time. I don't know. They're going to meet Stacy's family. She says that every time she goes to her dad's house from the whatever, she gets lost. But then we find out that her mom also lives there. So I don't know what that's about.
And this walkway walking up to the house is the size of a New York City block, if that gives you any indication as to what we're walking into. We meet Sister Tracy, Sister Chelsea and Salone, Papa Dale, and Mama. What was Mama's name?
Girl, I don't know any of those names.
I think it was Stacy. Basically, they get there and everyone is welcoming him, having a little bit of small talk. And you could tell Izzy is a little nervous, and he asks Papa Dale what it's like raising girls. God. When this man is telling a story about them packing shoes, how many times do you think he said they went to France?
6?
Yeah. He was like, well, when we were going to France, the girls love France. We were flying to France, and they had a suitcase of shoes going straight to France. Francity, France, France, bonjour, he.
He said, yeah, they were a handful. When we went to France, they had a suitcase full of shoes. I smoked cigarettes. I drank. I cut school. You know, I started having sex when I was 15. I was a handful.
Right.
A suitcase full of shoes is not a handful.
Especially not when you're going to France.
Yeah, and also you probably have like your own valet service. Stacy has her little confessional. I feel like she's also laying in bed for this confessional, or is she just sitting on a bed? And she's like, he's so macho, but he's also emotional. It's so weird.
You know, Texas has its own grid. Like, I think Texas is gonna like secede from the United States, and Stacy seems like she's been living in another country her whole life. The one thing that runs in this family is vocal fry.
Yes.
Yeah. And I can be victim of vocal fry. Sometimes I listen to myself and I'm like, Ellen, you are a trained singer. Talk on your fucking voice. What is wrong with you? But Sister Chelsea is like, Stacy, how did you know Stacy was the one? I was like, okay.
Did you know that, like, she really needs to, like, travel, and she, like, needs, like, to eat out a lot, like...
What I found very interesting in this conversation is how enthusiastic Stacy is about painting Izzy to be a poor asshole. Just buckle up. Basically, the first thing they laugh at is that he just got a passport. You just got a passport? Oh my God. He hasn't been anywhere. He's never even been to New York.
This was out of line.
Well, I don't think they understand what a privilege traveling is, and what a privilege international traveling is. When I graduated from college, I knew I was going to be a poor actor the rest of my life. My first job out of college was working on a cruise ship because I knew I would never be able to afford the places that the cruise ship would go on my dime.
Right.
So I was afforded some amazing travel on someone else's dime. The privilege that they are laughing at this man who, like, listen, I'm going to have problems with Izzy later on in this episode, but he seems to be a man who just kind of like worked his way up and has like gone from job to job. This family is breaking out in hives. They can smell the broke coming out of Izzy's pores.
It's really gross. And I know, like, there was something going around on Twitter a while ago that was, like, also shaming people for not having passports. And that was my feeling back then, too. I was like, not everybody has enough money, first of all, to even get a fucking passport, but then to travel with it. Like, relax.
Yes. And they're just playing this fun little game of how many different ways can you call someone poor. Like, rich people cannot be trusted.
And that house, by the way, looks like a fucking bigger version of the Grey's corporate apartment. Like, what is everybody doing?
And she totally makes fun of him again for the plastic dinnerware and the cups. Totally unnecessary. I'm trying to figure out why Stacey had to work that into the conversation with her family. And they are just sitting there kind of gloating about how much money they have to a guy who's been pretty open about not having a lot of money.
Being working class.
Yeah. This comes on the back of her really, really laying down her expectations of being provided for because he's the man. This family is archaic. It's like we all got into a fucking DeLorean and went back to the 50s, and here we are all wearing Lily Pulitzer dresses and drinking out of gold chalices. I want to punch you all in the eyes.
I completely agree. They are so fucking cut off, and it's frankly very bizarre behavior. But I feel like a lot of wealthy people try not to be so showy. I guess that's not really true.
Absolutely. No, some of the richest people I know, you would never know how much money they have. Real people with money have class. You don't talk about your money. You don't show off your money. You have understated things. I don't begrudge anyone for having nice things. Have nice things. Live your life. You have old money? Great. Fucking donate to charity, please, but enjoy your life. But the way they are rubbing it in this man's nose, I am embarrassed for them.
Yeah, it is really tacky.
So then Izzy sits with Papa Dale. He's like, love is having a roof over your head and love is eating nice meals. Then this is where I want you all to know that when you come to my funeral, I want you to wear bright colors. I don't want black. I want you to wear bright colors. I want you to sing a lot of songs and have fun because I am coming to you from the grave. He says, love is flying first class.
Oh, I must have blocked that out in a state of unconscious rage.
He said, love is having a roof over your head, love is eating good food, and love is flying first class. It is giving out of touch. I don't know what to say.
Well, then he says, the producers are like, hey, Papa Dale, let's have a little confessional. And he's like, well, how about I sit here on my fucking Porsche, my Lamborghini, whatever the fuck luxury car, race car he was sitting on. But I was like, dude, we get it. Oh, yeah. But I don't know if you noticed when they were sitting outside, Izzy's feet didn't reach the ground, which, listen, as a vertically challenged person, my feet never reach the ground. To me, I was like, oh, that poor guy. He's about to be like skewered by this dude for being not enough of a man, and his poor little feet don't reach the ground.
If you are rich and tacky, you have a double whammy against you. This family is gross.
They're really gross.
I'm sorry. Alexa's family last year had money, and I don't mind money conversations. You are entitled to have those conversations they had last episode. Listen, like you said, there's a breadwinner, and you guys have to sort those things out. The grossest taste in my mouth. It was like having hummus and not brushing your teeth, and then waking up in the morning with the hummus still on your breath a little bit, and then having coffee and some cigarettes.
And some blue cheese. And after Stacey's dad goes on and on and on about money, he then says, I don't want to harp on money.
Was the rest of that sentence anymore?
I'm not trying to focus on money, he said. No, not anymore. I'm not trying to focus on money. Yeah. Well, you're succeeding at it without trying then, sir.
They're gross. So then Izzy and Stacey are having a party with all the other couples.
It's 13 days to the wedding.
13 days to the wedding. Not only are all the other couples coming over, and when we say all the other couples, we mean the other couple, but every rando, Renee the veterinarian, Miriam the cam girl, Carter who talked about a fish once, they're all coming over.
I literally wrote randos from the pod.
Yeah. They're all randos. Mira. Yeah. All the plants, all the extras, and Johnny.
Yeah. Well, first, let's talk about Carter, who I guess he's the one who talked about the fish one time.
I think he was like a fisherman.
I just said if I wouldn't have recognized him if you'd held a gun to my head. Like, I would have been like, I've never seen that person before in my life.
And they're like, we will murder you, Tony Award-winner Daisy Egan, tell us who it is.
I'm dead, because I really have no idea. And then he and Milton are having a discussion, Carter's take on Taylor and JP's relationship, because, he's qualified to talk about it. I mean, I guess just as much as we are, is that Taylor just didn't give JP a chance. She didn't have patience. She didn't give him a chance. And Milton's like, well, I mean, it takes some emotional maturity, and Carter says, if I had a daughter, I would want her to marry someone like JP because that's Captain America. Yikes.
Well, he's not wrong.
He is actually Captain America.
If JP was given the option to be Captain America, he'd be like, yeah, where do I sign up? Absolutely, because he's the guy who wears the American
if you were
flag.
to ask him, like, what superhero, like, you wouldn't be able to get it out. He'd be like, Captain America. Yeah, so then Johnny shows up, and we go back to Stacy, at the hangar in the pod saying that Johnny is a joke. She's a fucking joke. She's a joke.
Yeah, I have thoughts, about that. I'm going to hold on to it because more on that later. And then Chris walks in and everyone's like, who's that? Now, remember, a lot of these people don't know who everyone is. And Johnny's like, Chris and I are together. We're boyfriend and girlfriend.
They did it. I really feel like it means something in this show to like get together after because you've skipped the free vacation. You know what I mean? Like you don't even get that free vacation. So that has to mean something, And then Johnny's sitting on a table and telling us that Chris is the best person she has ever known and that her mom likes Chris too.
Well, remember what a bitch her mom was. Her mom's like, I don't think you're ever actually going to find happiness, but do you want my peach cobbler?
She's not qualified anymore. She's not allowed to comment.
Like, Mom, you've never been on a date on an app. Get fucked. You don't know what you're talking about anymore. You're done. And then they all take shots, and no good story has ever started with, and we took some shots and ... So nothing good is going to come of this night.
It sure isn't. But don't forget also that we hear the conversation that two of the lady randos are gossiping that Stacy told them that she was going to shit in the cookies. She was going to shit in the cookies and feed them.
Yeah. Has anyone seen The Help? If you haven't, go watch it. So Johnny and Izzy sit down for an unnecessary chat.
Necessary.
And she starts off really nice. You seem really happy with Stacy. I'm really happy with Chris. And he's like, yeah, I'm really glad with the decision I made. I heard a lot of sketchy stuff about you. Izzy kind of out of nowhere reads Johnny for Phil.
It was completely unnecessary. It came out of nowhere. They could have ended the conversation with like, great, I'm glad you're happy. I'm glad you're happy. Awesome. Bye. But no, Izzy decided he needed to unload on her. And you know what they say, like the opposite of love isn't hate. It's like, well, now I've forgotten what it is.
Well, isn't it the opposite of love isn't hate? It's indifference.
It's indifference. But he's clearly really angry at her.
Or is he just been pounded and emasculated by Stacy and her family, and she was just the easiest fucking one to unload on?
Oh, God. I didn't even think of that. Plus, it's obvious that he's drunk.
First of all, pump the brakes, dude. You are way too excited to disrespect a woman. Like, you puffed up your chest, you roided that shit out, you high-fived yourself in the bathroom, and then you went and you intentionally went to go shit on someone's cookies. A simple, we weren't a match, it didn't work out in the end, I'm glad you're happy, let's have some shit cookies, would have been fine. Instead, he fucking Regina George's that shit.
He's telling Johnny, you lied, you said one thing to me and the opposite to Chris, and she's like, no, I didn't. And I had accused her of that too. And then I felt like, they played the clips back to back of her in the pod with JP saying the thing about Chris, and then her in the pod with Chris saying the thing about Izzy. And it could be just that I'm so angry at Izzy in this moment that I'm like willing to find anything okay with Johnny. But watching those back, I actually just sort of felt like, okay, like, yeah, she did a whiplash 180. We get it. Like, she turned on a dime after Izzy dumped her and was like, oh, I love Chris. But it does look like in those clips that she is genuinely trying to figure out what her patterns are. And that's fine. Like, look, I don't think she should be on this show. I think she should figure out those patterns before she tries to do this. But to me, it didn't seem like she was trying to be manipulative. It really did seem like she was like, I think I just repeated the pattern that I've been doing my whole life.
Yeah, you can see her really thinking it out. But also, you all are falling in love with a voice and a fucking package deal. You're falling in love with a story. You're falling in love with the representative. You are falling in love. Like, Izzy went from Lydia to Johnny to Stacy. You're all fucking figuring it out. So don't come at her for playing the same game you all are. This is not a real life scenario. Does it work for some people? Sure, more power to you. I'm looking at you, Cameron and Lauren from season 1. I'm pretty sure they're the only ones that are still together. Don't fucking play her like she's a fucking fool for doing the same thing that you've all been doing. Do I think Johnny acted straight up all the time? No. But we have to acknowledge the unkosher circumstances that all of these people are under. They're on TV. They're talking to a fucking wall day after day, eating stale bagels and wine. They're getting hopped up on wine.
Yeah.
It is the weirdest thing. And then he's like, can I give you advice? Who the fuck are you? I don't take advice from anyone, and that includes Jesus fucking Christ. I'm not taking anyone's advice. Even if your name is Doctor, I'm still going to look at you side-eye.
And she says, no, I don't want advice. And then, do you remember what his advice was?
He said, everyone thinks you're sketchy as fuck.
Yeah, that's
not advice.
That's not advice,
is
my
like,
friend.
you shouldn't wear stripes. Like, everyone thinks you're sketchy as fuck. Does everyone mean Stacy?
right.
Because actually, Stacy is entitled to think she's sketchy as fuck. Because let's be real, Johnny was talking shit about her in the pods, and that was unnecessary. Not real life circumstances.
Right.
Way too much pressure, way too much emotion, no outlet, no phones, no friends. You're with. I get it. So actually, Stacy is entitled to say that. But bitch, don't say it was everyone. It's Stacy. So say, me and Stacy think you're sketchy as fuck, and also buy low, sell high. Like, give me some advice, you know?
What's the advice, my friend? How about don't go on
Exactly.
reality shows?
That's reality shows.
What can you do in that moment? She just picks up her drink and gets up and she's like, well, I think you're sketchy as fuck. Just walks away. And I'm like, oh, Johnny.
It just didn't need to happen.
know.
You all have made a series of really bad decisions. Me too, which most of 2017 I can put under that umbrella.
Most of my 20s, I would say.
Sure. So then he goes back to Stacy and says,
I called her out on her shit. And
Which
she
was
got-
what?
And I was like, dude, you're so fucking sketchy. Like, I was fucking railing her.
He's drunk. I mean, first of all, he's drunk and she knows it immediately because he comes at her and she's like, are you okay?
let me just to recap, since this is a recap podcast. Izzy, you're going to go bully a woman to tears, then brag about it to your girlfriend who needs a contouring lesson.
Thank you.
That is some weak man shit, my man. Everyone could have played this fucking differently. While I realized that Johnny absolutely talked shit,
Sure.
that was unnecessary, but you're out of the pods now. Grow the fuck up.
Grow up.
Chalk it up to a funny situation that's now going to be immortalized on everybody's fucking TVs. And laugh about the fucking fact that you guys ate stale bagels for 2.5 weeks.
And one banana. Yeah, absolutely. You know, and Stacey at one point, like, Izzy starts saying, I'm so glad that we can communicate. I'm so, like, we don't have those problems. And Stacey says, please don't compare me to a mess, which is fair. This doesn't make me feel good for you to go do that and then come to me and be like, thank God you're not like her.
Exactly. You're not like that crazy bitch.
Poor Johnny. Somebody please give Johnny a tissue. Is crying to Chris, and Chris is so sweet. He's just sweet. And Johnny made this point to Izzy during the fight. She's like, if I was so sketchy, how did I get the nicest guy on the show? Who knows? Again, we don't really know, but like she's telling Chris what just happened, and Chris is like, don't listen to them. It's not true. Like, not everybody thinks you're sketchy. He's a good boyfriend in that moment, I thought.
I think Chris is a good boyfriend, and I would like to say I pointed him out in episode 1 because he fostered fucking dogs.
You're right. You called it.
Chris is a good guy, and she says it. She's like, he's the best guy I ever met. And I believe it because everyone on the show has said that too.
Yeah.
Like Carter said it, Izzy said it. Everybody has said Chris is just a good man. I believe it. What is that saying? It's like, pay attention to what people say about you when they don't have to. Pay attention to what people say when you're not in the room. I can't remember, but it's something like, Chris is a fucking good guy because he fosters dogs. I think that's what the way the saying goes.
Yeah, I think that is actually the saying. And then, ding, 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 here comes Uche.
And he walks in. Honey, he might as well have been Casper the Friendly Ghost. Lydia looks right through him. Lydia doesn't even look at him.
She's not interested. She is not interested. So he wants to pull her aside and have a talk. Again, look, I'm sure it was orchestrated by the producers. Another completely unnecessary conversation. None of this shit is any of his business. She's not having it.
No, she really didn't want to. And so he sits down and he wants to bring up the time that they got into their first fight when they were dating.
Before that, he has this whole monologue about like, you really cared about me and you learned what my favorite color was and then you bought me something in that color and then you learned what my favorite drink was. And like, he's going on and on about what an amazing woman and girlfriend she was. And I was like, where is this going?
It's called love bombing.
Ugh.
It's like how a cat plays with a mouse before it kills it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It's like, look, I'm going to play with you. I'm going to make you trust me. I'm going to make you think I'm fun and just like your really, really big friend. And then I'm going to bite your head off.
Wow.
Or if you're my cat, you eat the whole fucking thing.
Ew. Cats are gross.
Dogs eat their own asshole.
You would too if you could, Ellen.
So they're talking about Uche. He wants to go back in time. He's like Huey fucking Lewis. He's like... Let me take you back to a time when we had our first fight. He lied about something, and Lydia lied in retaliation. Basically, he's hinting at the fact that she snooped around his household, and Lydia's like, I opened a fucking drawer.
Yeah, he got caught in a lie, and he turned it around to be about how she found out about the lie in a dishonest way. And it's like, no. Nope, that's not what we're doing. No, you lied.
So we find out what the lie is. It's really no shock. It's nothing that he invented. Basically, he was in a situationship with Lydia. Of course, they're not calling it that. I am calling it that. I can tell that Lydia thought this was more than he did. This is tale as old as time. Bring out Mrs. Potts to sing the song. Like many men, he was probably very deliberately vague because he wanted to keep tapping as many women as he could, right? And if I have learned anything from my years of watching The Bachelor, of which I wish I could have that time back, the correct question is not, are you dating someone? The best question to ask, gather around the campfire, children, and listen to my tale, is, does anyone out there believe they are in a relationship with you? You're welcome. Everybody use that and report back because the truth is always somewhere in the middle. Bottom line is, I think Uche probably just led Lydia on. He wanted to tap that Puerto Rican ass and tap all the other asses.
So Milton comes in. He can clearly see that this is not a good situation. And it's like Milton to the rescue. He comes and sits down. She's like, hey, where were you? And he goes, I was taking a piss in the urinal. I love him.
And Lydia actually says exactly what I thought. She was like, thank you for the specificity.
Yeah, it's so great. And then he is clearly writing something on his phone for her to see. You know, like you do with on the subway who you think are being like followed. You're like, oh, hey, could you take a look at this picture? And you're writing like, hey, you're being followed. He says like, yeah, you guys can finish up. It's just we have to go in 10 minutes. We have somewhere to be. He's clearly trying to rescue Lydia from this, but Uche wants to keep talking. Uche wants to keep talking, and Milton lets them do it.
And they do, and it doesn't go anywhere. He tells us the whole story about you looked at people's stories, and Lydia's like, I don't know what my fucking algorithm looks like. I have no doubt this happened. I don't know how, but I firmly believe Uche is behind it. There is nobody that cross-references their fucking Instagram viewed stories. No.
And he says so many people are sending me screenshots of you stalking them. And he shows her one screenshot, and she's like, what? And my question is, where is the picture of the driveway that you say she took and said, like, I'm watching you? Like, if you have all these screenshots, where is this picture that made you panic? You don't have that?
I am sure the truth absolutely lies in the middle. If he led her on, wasn't forthcoming with the truth, and then she finds out he was sleeping around. Now, I'm not saying sleeping around because I know a lot of people don't want to hear this, but as somebody who I date around a lot, I don't think a relationship is exclusive until you actually have a conversation being very explicit about it. So I don't offer up my nocturnal activities to people. And And if they ask, I'm going to tell them the truth because I am exclusive with no one. However, there are things that people can do, like meeting your friends, like hanging out with your dog. Like there are things that lend itself to someone that would lead them to believe that things are a little bit more serious than the other person might think they are. Do I think that Lydia probably got jealous thinking that he was fucking other girls? Yeah, maybe they were being very intimate. And I don't mean sexually, but introducing people to your friends is an intimate act that is bringing you into a circle. So I do believe that there was a lot of confused emotions, and I believe Uche was a bit of a puppet master, and both parties have admitted that Lydia was in a very low and emotional place. And when somebody takes advantage of somebody who's vulnerable, that makes you a dirtbag.
And for him to have turned around and judged Aaliyah as harsh as he did, and then to find out that he was tap dancing all over town, he's so gross. He's so fucking gross. He's so unctuous. I did see women defending him on Instagram. You know, they're like, you're just being direct and you're just being like masculine. Yeah.
Those women are called pick-me's. Remember I told you that the other?
Yeah.
That's a pick-me. It's like, I'm so cool. I'm one of the guys. I know code. It's fine. Here's the thing about him alluding to the fact that she's a stalker. Maybe she fucking is. Maybe she has 17 restraining orders in the state of Kentucky that we haven't Googled yet. All I'll say is a woman doesn't act like that with little to no engagement from the other person. If he was like, I need this to stop, and she kept doing it, but if he called her every Sunday fun day for a little horizontal hokey pokey hallelujah, what's it to ya?
Yeah.
You're leading her on.
That is breadcrumbing for sure. Ugh.
And Lydia storms out. I think she's a little drunk. I think she's emotional. I don't think she's probably therapized all of her feelings about what happened. They just fucked a couple months ago. I'm sure she's confused. I'm sure she loves Milton.
She could be drunk and start screaming, and she chose to walk away, which I think was the sober decision.
Oddly enough, she did make this sober decision. And to your point, she didn't want to talk to him in the first place.
Yeah, she was not interested.
He said, can we talk? And she said, I'd rather not.
Yeah.
No is a complete sentence. That is a perfectly acceptable thing to say.
Totally. And there was something else he said to her that made me want to... Oh, yeah, it was when they were fighting. He said, if you were being honest, why was I upset? What?
It's the manipulation. It's so 101. He's not even going to get a job at Narcissist University. He's going to be at the community college.
And she says it too, right? When she walks away the first time, she says, you are a narcissist.
I thank you, Netflix, for this season because we have so much to fucking talk about. But you all make me feel normal. And that, my friends, is something to behold.
I feel so superior. It's so nice.
It really is. I feel better than you. I feel more stable than you.
For sure.
I feel like I've made some great decisions in my life compared to you motherfuckers. Let me reiterate, am a fucking mess.
But you know what, Ellen? You're our mess. And we love you.
Thank you. I love you. Oh, man. I knew that one was going to grind my gears.
That one grinded my gears.
Who do you like the best out of everyone in this show? Give me a man and a woman that you're like, these are the only people that are good.
Milton and...
I'm going to say Renee the veterinarian because she's out here saving lives.
I was going to say the woman who's in the MLM giving facials with her pussy. Miriam?
Miriam giving facials with her pussy. Oh, my stars. This fucking show, I don't think any of them are going to get married. I think they should lose each other's numbers. Stacey should go fucking marry a guy who plays for the Cowboys.
Let's make predictions for sure.
Okay.
So we've got... We only have two couples.
Let's start. You're flipping your pages. Yeah. Let's go through the couples one by one.
Okay, so we have Milton and Lydia, and we have Izzy and Stacey. So you don't think anybody's going to get married. Who's going to say yes and who's going to say no?
I think Lydia will say yes. Milton will say no.
I think Izzy's going to say no.
Stacey's a wild card.
Yeah, she really is. I agree. I'm halvesies on her. I'm not sure. I'm hoping Izzy I hope they all say no, but I hope Izzy says no. Maybe I'm wrong. I mean, maybe we're wrong. Who knows?
I did get a spoiler. Do you want to know my spoiler that I found out? Yeah. Lydia walks down the aisle to a beady beady bamba.
No.
A beady, beady, beady,
Shut
beady,
fuck
beady,
you.
mama.
You know what, Ellen? This is over. That was it.
Oh, and listen, no matter what podcast I'm on, I have to circle it back to Selena in some way. I have to. It's in the Bible. Well, you all, are you still here? Are you still
Is
here?
anybody-
Send us a message on Patreon. Is anybody out there?
Is anybody out there? Can anybody hear me?
Love is Blind is a social experiment. So is Shut the Fuck Up, Nick Lachey. It's seeing
really
how
is.
much bullshit people are able to stomach. Well, thank you for joining us this week. I don't even know what day it is.
How many more are left?
700. We're in it for the long haul.
We're like, remember back in 2023 when we started this podcast?
Yeah. Daisy and I are going to move to Shady Pines, and we've got to get an adjoining room because we've got to keep this podcast going. Please follow us on social media if you haven't. I assume you have by now. We're on episode 7. If you haven't, you don't follow directions well.
Like Stacey says of Johnny, you're a lost soul.
You're a lost soul. But if you do follow me on socials, please look at my stories so
Yeah.
that I can see who you are. And then
And
I can
cross-reference.
look and cross-reference your shit and find out if you're looking at my shit. So weird.
God, get a life.
Until tomorrow, Daisy.
Oh my God, is it tomorrow already?
I don't know. I don't know what day it is. I just know all I do is watch Love is Blind and come down to my studio and talk to you through FaceTime. That's all I've been doing. And also, thank you to Amanda Rossman and Amber Hunt who have been editing our stupid asses. Y'all are killing the game. I don't know what Daisy and I are doing, but we're here.
We're idiots with microphones.
But I love you, and I'll see you tomorrow.
We'll see you tomorrow. Follow us at Grab Bag Collab. I am Daisy Egan, Eagan, and my other podcast on Grab Bag is Dear Daisy. New episode drops this Friday, and I recorded it yesterday, and it's really good. And Strange and Unexplained with Daisy Egan comes out on Thursdays. I love it. It's great. I am getting even better at it, if you can imagine that. Like, I know I was already the best. Oh, Ellen, I'm sorry. I forgot you were
I'll
here.
just say, Google me. You know, if you actually cared, Google me.
It's Ellen with a Y. Yellen.
Come check out my other podcasts. Those are equally as fun. And we'll see you later. But seriously, leave us a message on Patreon. We want to know what you're thinking so far and if our thoughts align. And by if our thoughts align, meaning if you're right, just like us.
Correct. I have nothing to add to that. That was perfection.
All right. See you guys later.
See ya.